If you haven't already signed up to be notified about upcoming online and in-person workshops that I will be conducting, you can go to convome.com and click on the Work With Me tab, or just go directly to convome.com/workshops to get on the mailing list specifically for this. And I will be sending out information on upcoming workshops that I'll be doing and the topics that they'll be covering. And this will go throughout 2020. Again, that's convome.com and click on the Work With Me tab, or convome.com/workshops. I also recorded an episode that goes into more detail about what these workshops are and what they will cover, and so you can listen to that as well.
Welcome to the Etsy Conversations podcast, featuring inspiring interviews with Etsy shop owners, hosted by Ijama Elazu.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Etsy Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Ijama. Thank you for joining me. This week, I have another returning guest who I'm really excited to talk to again. It's been 2 years, even though it felt like 6 months, maybe 9 months, perhaps. But my guest is Alisha, and she runs the Etsy shop One Blushing Bride. Our last conversation was back in April of 2018. That was episode 219, where Alisha shared all about her Etsy shop and what she does. She sells wedding veils and capes and just does some good stuff for brides. So I have her back on the podcast because a lot has happened in 2 years, and so we're going to catch up. So Alisha, thank you so much for being my guest again on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Ijama. The time has flown by since we've talked.
It really has, because all the time at the back of my head, I really do think it's like 6 months or 9 at the most. And then, I look at the actual time in between now and then, and it's exactly 2 years, actually.
Exactly.
So what have you been up to in the last couple of years?
Well, a lot has been going on. And I would say that, some of the major changes or new things that I have been implementing are hiring a virtual assistant who has been helping me part-time, and that has been a huge learning curve, but also a big help for people who are looking to get some work off their plate and have some additional help. So that has been a big focus of mine over the past couple of years. And also really focusing on email marketing, which I know everybody, they hear that, and a lot of people haven't started, and there's this guilt that you feel like I haven't even started collecting emails and that sort of thing. Yeah. But it's okay. You just it's been a process that is slow going for me, but I'm just now starting to see results, and it's just taking that first step to start collecting emails and being intentional about it. And everybody always starts from having 0 people on their list. So it's just something that, we all start there.
Yes. And as soon as you put that sign up form on, you're checking like almost every hour, like, has anybody signed up? Has anyone
signed up? Absolutely. Yes. Oh, and for me, it's been so much trial and error to see what works and what doesn't work. People are generally pretty happy to sign up if you give them some sort of small discount. Yeah. And it's helpful to share in other places, like on social media and stuff, to kind of get the word out.
Yeah. So I have a couple of questions already, and I know there's more you've been up to, but going back to your virtual assistant, now I know this is something that a number of Etsy sellers have tapped into recently. Well, I shouldn't say recently. I'm learning that other sellers are tapping into using virtual assistants. More recently, I'm learning. So And for me, I have tried to find one as well, but it's, to me, an overwhelming process. Like, where do you start? Where do you go? Do you look offshore? Do you look in the US? What are rates? How do you do the training? So how did you go about finding your virtual assistant and picking the right person and getting him or her all set up just the way you want?
It can be really overwhelming. You're right. It was something that I was wanting to do for a while because I thought it would be really helpful during my busy season, which is kind of during the summer months. And I know a lot of people, that's what holds them back. That's what was holding me back. Like, where do you even start with it all? I actually read a book called Virtual Freedom. It's by Chris Ducker. And I believe I listened to it via Audible, which is, I wasn't actually reading the book. I was listening to it. And that's what kind of gave me the push to start looking into some of this stuff. And it's not quite as complicated as we make it, because I generally say that it's like a 4-step process. And the main thing that you're going to be doing is brainstorming and setting up some systems in place so that you're actually ready to have somebody come on board with you. The first thing that I really recommend for people is to just get out paper and pen or do a brainstorming session on your phone. You're just going to do like a brain dump of all the tasks that you do, tasks that are maybe more repetitive in nature, and things that maybe you're not that good at, or things that are not getting done in your business. And just spend a good, couple days, as you're doing your other work, more ideas will come to your mind about, oh yeah, I do this on a consistent basis, or this is something I was meaning to get around to and I never did. So for me, what I was doing is some of the things that I was putting off was like responding to positive reviews. You can't respond to positive reviews on Etsy, but for people who have set up other places like on Facebook, and for me, I also have reviews that are going on Google My Business.
Oh, you have a Google My Business page.
I do, and I highly recommend all Etsy sellers. It's been a really good source of traffic for me.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. But after, finish what you're saying. It is good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you. You're so cute. Yeah, definitely set it up. It's an easy process. And once you get it up, you can do updates, and it's been really good for me. So I think every Etsy seller should have one.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So I was thinking, okay, I just never get around to responding to these positive reviews. And I always think that it sets a good impression when you see companies that are responding to people's positive reviews, because it's like, okay, it's a real person who's behind this. And that's the big drawing point of Etsy sellers, is that it's a real person, handmade by a real person. And so that was one area that I was just not getting around to. The other area was different graphics that I was needing for my Instagram in regards to, I like to post quotes, or I was wanting to post quotes, and I was wanting to get help with designing all of those, and it's something that I was wanting to do and just never got around to. I was wanting to be more intentional about checking my analytics on places like Etsy, on places like Pinterest. If you have a blog, checking those. If you do email marketing, checking analytics on the emails that you're sending out, or even checking analytics on your Facebook posts, on your Instagram posts. There are so many things that would be helpful to know, like, what are my most popular posts? What are my most popular Etsy listings? And for most of us, we get so busy doing like the day-to-day tasks that we don't even think about that. And so I was wanting someone to help with that. I was wanting somebody to reach out to customers that I had sent samples to kind of follow up and make sure that, hey, did they arrive? Did you have any questions about those samples that I sent out? And I just didn't have a system in place for that. So I want you to do a brain dump where you just think of everything you could possibly have help for in your business. So that's step one, is just brainstorming.
Okay.
Yeah. And that generally takes, that's the hardest part, is kind of getting it all out there and what you would need help with.
Yes.
Yeah. And the next thing that I think is really important, step 2, is documenting what it is you want that person to do. Because for me, this is a learning process from my own mistakes. Mm-hmm. I hired somebody and I did not have any system in place to kind of train that person. Yeah. And so it was really stressful because I was trying to get orders out. I had this person who was helping me, and I didn't have enough tasks to give her, and I was paying her, and that's everybody's fear. Like, yes. Oh, I'm going to hire somebody and I'm not going to have tasks to be able to give them, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, that's so scary.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So before you're even looking into somebody to help you, just start to document the systems that you do. You can write down step by step what it is that you do for different things. So whether that's in a Word document, and just listing out step by step, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and be as specific as possible so that other people can look at it and understand. You can even do, you can even record your screen. Like sometimes I will use a software called Screencast-O-Matic. It's a free software. You can record your screen, and it kind of helps you. It records exactly what it is you're doing on your screen. So that's an easier way of recording your process. So basically, I documented a couple of systems for how I reach out to my customers. And, I had a template of, this is what I want you to send to my customers who I have sent samples to, and who I know have received those samples.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's always step 2, documenting your system. And then step 3 is when you're actually going to have a job description that you post somewhere, you're trying to find the right sort of person. I used Upwork. Have you heard of that?
I have heard of Upwork.
Yeah. So you look for virtual assistants, you look for help on there, and I've had a really good experience with it because you're also protected by Upwork if something doesn't get done, or it can be scary hiring somebody and you've never met them face to face, but they do a good job of putting protective mechanisms in place so that it's not so overwhelming. They give you more step-by-step instructions. And for me, I knew that I was looking for somebody who was I was looking for somebody in the Philippines because I knew that would be a little bit more within my price range. Because it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for somebody who is, most of us, we're on a tight budget. We're small business owners. Mm-hmm. And so if you're unsure, I would look for somebody in the Philippines, and it's worked out really well for me. And you get to know these people. They are real people with real families. Yeah. And my current virtual assistant, her name is Jen. Shout out to her. She has 4 kids. She has a thing for purses. She really loves purses. She eats Filipino food. Her favorite one is adobo.
Of course, yes.
It's really it is a fun process to get to know this person and get to know their life in the process of working with them.
Can I ask you about that? Yeah. So on Upwork, can you filter regions? So like you said, you knew you wanted someone in the Philippines. So
Yes.
are you able to filter out the people that you see? Does that make sense? So that you
Yeah.
only see people in a geographic location that you want to work with?
Yes, you are
Okay.
able to totally filter. And so you're able to filter on a couple different levels. You're able to filter by location, like you're talking about. So for me, I just said I'm looking for somebody in the Philippines. And you're also able to filter by if this is a one-time job that you're going to be doing, like a small project. Like, for example, I've hired on there for small projects to be done on my website, things involving design and coding that I knew would not last for a long period of time. But you can also go onto Upwork and you can filter for an ongoing relationship, somebody who's going to be helping you for the long term.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can filter by a couple different ways. And if you're starting with somebody in the Philippines, I mean, it starts at about, I'd say it starts at about $4 to $5 an hour, which is for most people, it's doable, especially if I would recommend start off with 2 to 3 hours a week just to see if you're liking your interaction, if you're able to have enough work to give them so that you're not totally stressed out. And so it would be like a $15 investment per week to start off with. And you're thinking of it for the long term, like, where's your business going to be 5 years from now? And it'd be nice to have somebody on board to help you with some of the work.
In the beginning, when you're still, like, I guess in the trial period, does the person you're working with, or do you tell them that it's a trial, or do they know that they're working for a limited number of hours on a trial basis, and then how easy is it to transition them into more of a constant not employee, contractor or contract worker for you?
Right, that's a good question. For me, there was no way to filter on Upwork like, okay, this is a trial basis, but I was very honest with the people that I was talking with that we're going to start off with a 30-day trial and just see how it goes, because it's not just if they work for me, it's also if I work for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And there's no, maybe what I'm asking them to do is not really their forte, or it doesn't really work with their schedule. So it's a trial period for both of us, so that we both can come away from that and evaluate. And you can ask them, what are you thinking about it? And you can evaluate, what am I thinking about working with them? And then, so there really was no changes after that 30-day period. It's not like I went on and had to convert them somehow to a full-time person. It's been, I would say the most important thing is really communicating with whoever it is that you're working with, whoever your VA is, because the quality of the work that you get is dependent on the quality of the instructions that you're giving them. So, and that was interesting for me, because if I just slap together some email or systems in place, and I tell them, decipher this, and it doesn't make a lot of sense, then I'm going to get bad work back.
Right.
So, it's up to you to put some of those systems and some of those steps in place so that they're able to do a good job.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you just go on there and, you post a detailed job description, and I recommend doing at least 3 interviews. And I did them via Skype.
I was just going to ask. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
do you do face-to-face or just calls? On Skype.
I did face-to-face.
Okay.
Because I kind of wanted to, I wanted to test their internet connection, because that can be a big issue with the Philippines. It doesn't have certain places don't have as reliable of internet connection, and there are places that will have outages for certain periods of time. So you kind of want to make sure that they are able to do that face to face if needed.
That's
and it does
good
something
point.
for them to be able to, yeah. Thank you. It does something to be able to see them as well, and for them to be able to see you, so that you're kind of able to figure out your chemistry, and if you're able to work together, and if you're able to understand one another as well, especially if you're working with somebody who's based in another country.
Yeah. When it comes to payment, how does that work? Is the money you pay held in escrow until you're satisfied, or is the money paid out as soon as they complete a task?
So you set a limit on the amount of hours that you want them to do per week.
Okay.
And Upwork has a very nice system in place where they will automatically send you screenshots of what the other person is working on during. Yes. So so your VA, your virtual assistant, they will actually log in via Upwork whenever they are starting to work on your tasks that you're yeah. So it logs it, which is really brilliant. And they'll even send you screenshots, like a couple of them, of what their computer screen looks like during a chosen moment of that hour that they're saying that they're working for you.
Wow. And Upwork is the one that's capturing this information.
Yes.
It's not that the person is saying, okay, here's a screenshot.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all
wow.
work, and they're able to log what it is they're doing during those hours. So it's very safe. You do pay. The one thing to keep in mind is that you are paying, like, say you're paying somebody $5 an hour, a percentage of that is being given to Upwork. So that's just something for you to keep in mind as you're setting your hourly prices.
Okay.
But the people who are looking for work on there, they know that, it's the same with any platform that's providing that sort of service.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely worth it, especially when you're first starting out, to have that hand holding. Like, this is a safe way to do it, and it gives you that peace of mind. So I highly recommend it.
Okay. And so I don't know if I should call it a transaction, but every communication, every exchange of project work and information goes through the Upwork platform between you and your VA. You and her don't ever communicate off of Upwork?
We do. Actually, now we almost always communicate off of Upwork via email, because it is a little bit easier to write to people, via email, or via she'll Facebook message me sometimes. So yeah, we basically now only use Upwork for the recording of payments and tasks. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure Upwork knows that, and they encourage you to do whatever works best
for you.
For you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how long have you had a virtual assistant now, and how long would you say it took to feel fully comfortable and have a smooth running relationship, working relationship with her?
Well, I think that my current virtual assistant, we've been working together for about 9 months.
Okay.
And we really clicked when we started to talk, because I had somebody previously, and we just never quite had that, I don't know what you call it, that chemistry, that connection.
Je ne sais
quoi. Yeah, the je ne sais quoi. Exactly. You say it much more beautifully than I do. And so as soon as I started talking to Jen, she was really good about being good with communication. And that's, you can train somebody to do individual tasks, but you can't necessarily train someone to be good at communicating and getting back to you quickly. Yes. and being just she's clever overall, and she can sometimes anticipate things that I need. And so I always say, when you're hiring, just make sure that, even if they don't have a ton of experience in whatever specific task it is that you're having them do, make sure that you're able to have good communication with them, because that is key.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, no. Well, I was just going to say that basically we had a connection right away, and it always has been really easy to train her because of that.
Yeah, I like that. One thing you said actually stood out, because I've heard that now a couple of times when listening to other people talk about the virtual assistants they work with. And the one thing I've heard across, you're now, I think, the third person that I've heard say that, is that she's able to anticipate things without you having said, and you're kind of on the same wavelength on that when it comes to that. And I feel like that's so valuable. I would love it if I was working with someone who, if I got to work with someone who, was able to think ahead and see how, my business runs, and be able to say, I think this will work. Do you want to give this a try? That's so valuable.
Yes, it's very valuable. And I think it's always like, I agree completely with what you're saying, that it's nice to have someone who anticipates what you need. But for me, I was also going into it with probably too high of expectations in regards to the fact that I kind of was thinking that I would find somebody who would be able to help me with all sorts of tasks. Someone who could help me with Pinterest marketing, and somebody who could also help me with design, and somebody who would be good at customer support, and somebody who would be able to just be like Superwoman or Superman, and
or another you,
or a clone of me. That would don't know if I want one of those. Yeah, so I was going in with too high of expectations as well. I mean, your virtual assistant is going to want to please you. So if you ask them to do something, they're going to say, yes, I can. But it's important to kind of evaluate what is really their wheelhouse, what is their specialty. And you kind of get some of that by knowing what their past work experience is. And also just by working with them and trying. Like, I tried to put Jen on helping me with my Pinterest marketing because I had purchased a course from Jenna Kutcher that talked about Pinterest marketing. Really good course, by the way, if you're unsure about Pinterest marketing.
What's it called?
It is called, it's called
Pinterest Lab, I think you said.
The Pinterest Lab.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
I just saw your notes.
You're so helpful. You're anticipating what I need.
I know.
Yeah, the Pinterest Lab was really helpful. I think it was right under $200 and just really helped me learn about Pinterest marketing.
Okay.
So I wanted to put her into that, and I thought, I have a course. It should be fine. She'll just take the course. But it was a little bit too much outside of her wheelhouse, and the fact that you need to know very specific. You need to know how to do keyword research. You need to have a really solid understanding already of how social media works. So that didn't end up working out too well for us. So now I'm looking into other options to help me with that area.
Okay.
And if, your virtual assistant probably will never come to you and say, hey, I think this is too scary for me, or this is too much
Yeah.
outside of my wheelhouse, because they want to please you. They want to do a good job and to help you. So that's going to be up to you to make some of those calls. And part of it is just seeing how a certain project goes with them and seeing if it's up to what it is you're expecting.
Yeah.
So I would say, as you're looking for people, just keep in mind that nobody is going to be that wonder person
Everything.
who can do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that does make sense, because if you think about just regular, organizations, you have one person who does like the accounting, and another person does social media, and another person does other admin stuff. So yes,
Right.
it does make sense. But you're right, because in my head I do think I should be able to find one person to do it all, but in reality I can't do it all. So that would be an unreasonable expectation to have of someone else.
Exactly. Like, I think of myself and, okay, I'm good at certain things, and then there are other things that I just struggle with, and that take me hours when they should take 5 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
Now, one other thing that you mentioned is you're focusing on email marketing.
Yes.
So you've started collecting email addresses. Where are you collecting them from, and what's your strategy with the people who sign up? Who's your target? Is it the brides, or is it other small businesses?
At this point, I'm focusing just on brides.
Okay.
In the future, I would like to have a separate list where I'm trying to get small businesses to sign up as well. And I'm kind of looking into doing that. But start with just one target audience.
Yeah.
And the whole theory behind what I'm doing with email marketing right now is that I want brides to learn more about me throughout this process, so that I'm anticipating some of their questions that they might have, so that I'm anticipating some of their worries and concerns, and I'm proactively addressing them with these weekly emails that I send out. And for me, what I do to collect emails is I send out completely free samples to brides, and there's no shipping or anything.
Oh, wow.
And I do that in exchange for their email address. And I don't just say, for your email address. I say, I will give you, because my first email in the sequence of my email marketing has a free wedding veil guide. And through this guide, they're able to download it and see some of the common mistakes that brides make, so that they don't make those same mistakes. And everyone that I've talked to, almost all people are more than happy to do that. It's helpful to them. So you kind of have to think about what is something valuable for your specific audience.
Yeah.
That would, because emails are sacred. People don't want a bunch of spam. They already have enough spam going on. Yeah. So it can be a little bit tricky trying to find the right avenue to collect those email addresses.
Yeah.
And then you can set up a sequence of just start with, 2 emails that are set up automatically to send out whenever somebody signs up. And maybe the first email is addressing some frequently asked questions, or care instructions. Say you're selling jewelry, maybe care instructions for how you take care of these pieces, or emails with styling tips. I have emails that I send out showing, how do you wear a veil in your hair for your wedding? I have an email that I send out saying, how do you preserve your wedding veil for future generations? How do you care for it after you've worn it and you're wanting to pass it on to your kids? I have an email talking about what are ways you can repurpose your wedding veil, because there are things you can do. The one that's really popular these days, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here because I just love wedding veils.
Go
But
for it.
you see Pinterest images these days with long wedding veils draped over baby cribs, which is just, it sounds so random, but it's like a canopy effect. And
Oh.
it's super fun, and something that would probably only interest a woman who is in that very specific stage of life.
Yeah.
She's planning her wedding. She's thinking I'm gonna one day start a family, type of thing. So I think that the hardest thing, once again, is just to start collecting those emails.
Yes. Now, so are you collecting the emails from your buyers on Etsy as well as visitors to your website, which, if anyone wants to check out, is oneblushingbride.net?
Yes, that's
okay,
correct.
So both. Okay.
Yes, both. Yes. So I have it also on my website. Once you've been on there for a certain period of time, I don't know, it's like 30 seconds, then a pop-up happens that says, would you like to download your free veil guide? And at another place on my website, I might have a pop-up that says, would you like to receive your free wedding veil samples? So there's discussions that are going on about, is that too spammy? Is that too much in a person's face? And I would tend to lean towards the fact that you just have to, if you have a website, I would definitely put it up there.
Yeah.
People are used to it. They're used to that with websites. And as long as it's not this huge thing that people can't click out of, if they don't want it, it's super easy to click out of.
Yes, I agree with you. And I literally, I had one once. I was playing around. I didn't really know how to do it. And I recently meaning in the last week, I don't even know if it's up to a week. I think it's more like 5 days, switched my email service providers, and I'm walking through the tutorials, and one of them shows you how to do a pop-up. And I thought, oh no, do I have to become one of those websites with the pop-up? And the person in the video says, yes, people say they're annoying, but they're so effective. You just have to try it, and just make it not obnoxious. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And now I have one, and yes, I was hesitant, but like you said, if you have an audience and you want to reach out to them, people are blinded to certain parts of your website, and so this is an opportunity for you to make a quick ask and make it easy for them to just say no, just click out and then be done with it, and it doesn't show up again. So you're right. You just have to, and I have to say, in the last 5 days when I've had it up, I did get 3 new subscribers. So it's annoying, but it works, people.
It totally works. See, that is such a huge success, because each one of those signups is a person who has opted in to say, yeah, I want to hear more about you and about what you're offering.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
So I think the only way it's annoying is if it's so unrelated to what the person is already interested in. Because for me, if I go on a website and there's a pop-up saying you can sign up to receive something, and it's something that I want, it's not annoying to me at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm almost waiting for that pop-up to give me the thing that I want.
Yes.
I would say be careful not to do a general, sign up to stay in touch with me. Like, people are thinking, I probably have enough on my plate already. I don't know if I need an email just to stay in touch with you. I think people need an incentive to sign up, and it doesn't have to be discount. In fact, I'm really cautious of doing discounts, because otherwise people come to expect that.
Right. Yeah.
It can be just something that is adding value to their lives, whether that's a checklist of some sort, some sort of downloadable freebie, some sort of free training. There are lots of options.
Good deal. So the first couple of emails you send out are you've already set them up so they'll automatically go out. Do you, after that point, do any, I don't know if the right word is live email marketing, where you're sending timely, like, is timely the word? Like, timely emails. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Actually. So we're right now, this podcast is going to be going live in May, you said?
In May.
Yes. So right now we're dealing with a pandemic, the coronavirus, and it's put a huge stumbling block for my brides in the planning of their wedding, because a lot of them are now having their weddings canceled. And that doesn't just impact them, that also impacts all of the bride's vendors. So the photographers, the venue, the church, the pastor, the man or woman who's designing the invitations, the person who's designing her dress, the one making the bride's jewelry. So there seems to be this general halt right now as we deal with all of the repercussions of the coronavirus, and they're serious repercussions. And so the beauty of having something like an email list is that you can send out emails live, like you said, current emails. And so I do that. The most recent one that I sent out was to all of my brides, talking about, like, I know there's a lot of fear going on right now, and I know some of your weddings are being canceled. Here are some of the things that I'm doing to help you during this period of time. And I actually sent out a request for my brides if they have any requests for prayer, that they can just hit respond. And so I've been really, like, trying to be really intentional about praying for my brides who have responded with specific prayer requests. And it's amazing. You form these personal relationships, and the brides do respond with specific things about their lives, about their loved ones, and about their current situation with wedding planning. And sometimes they're just, like, venting to you about everything that's going on, right? So it's always thinking about what is something that I can do to add value to my customer base, and without anything in return, because people can sense when you're trying to do it just to, like, get something out of them. So I do send live emails. I don't send them as often as I do the preset emails. But it's nice, as you're working on the emails that you're sending out, start to create them with the intention that after, like, send out an email talking about frequently asked questions. And then after the fact, you can go back and set that as an automated one that's part of your automated sequence. So
that was going to be my next question. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You're on track. I was just going to ask about how you set up your automated sequences, and but it sounds like as you're going, if you send an email that's evergreen, you can just add it to the sequence. And so for new subscribers, they'll eventually get that one, or, get all those emails.
Exactly. You're creating content that's not just the one-off content. Try to think about things that will be relevant to every customer that you have. So the way I've done it is I will write emails thinking about, is this going to be evergreen? Is it still going to be relevant to my brides down the line? And so now I have about 6 months of automated content that gets sent out. Which sounds weekly, once a week.
Yeah, that's great.
And I mean, the thing that was really holding me back, which for some of your listeners might be the same, was I was so concerned about the perfection of it.
Yes.
Like, oh, it has to look beautiful.
Yeah.
The content has to be right on. And, for me, that's been my biggest weakness, is trying to fight that like perfectionism tendency, because it totally holds me back. So if that's what your concern is, I would say, it's better to send something out that's, 70% good, 80% good, and still valuable, rather than just not sending anything out at all.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I agree. I've had to convince myself of that too. It's just, put something out there, and I found that when I have put things out that, like, I recently created a new landing page for the workshops, the live workshops I mentioned to you earlier. And I wasn't happy with it. But then, I thought, okay, just put it up there and see what it looks like. And then, go from there. And it took me a long time to just press the live, just so I could see it on the, on the website, see it on, on the World Wide Web, and be okay with it, even though I didn't feel like it was ready. But then what would happen was, every time I looked at it, I would see things that I could improve. And so it was easy enough to just go back in and change things or fix things or, switch up the wording. But if I hadn't put it out there, I would have been too stuck and wouldn't have been able to see, if it looked good enough for, the general public, or if, see what things I could change or make better or make clearer. And so, yes, there is a lot of truth in just putting something out there, even when you're not fully ready, and then you can iterate on it.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Like you said, there's nothing preventing you from going back and editing it after the fact. And people who are interested in you and your business, Ijama, they know that that's part of the beauty of it too, is that you're a real person who can make mistakes, and who, if you do make mistakes, who will, be honest about it. And that provides that level of connection too. Right. Oftentimes we try to hide our mistakes and hide where we mess up. And it's those mess ups and mistakes that can kind of humanize us, because we're not seeing our customers face to face. So a lot of your listeners are doing online e-commerce, Etsy stores, where you're not seeing people face to face. And that is, you have to go above and beyond to create that connection, because people aren't seeing you. They can't come to a store and talk to you live. So even something as simple as making a mistake and then owning up to it, does create that sort of weird connection in a way. Oh, it's a human too.
Yes.
Alisha,
one of the things that you did, or you've done over the last couple of years is set up systems in place for your small business. Are there specific tools and resources that you've used to streamline your business, in addition to, bringing on a virtual assistant and what you're doing with email marketing?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I would say that, to kind of preface that question, I would say that generally we're so busy in our businesses that we don't worry about doing things like setting up those systems. But a period of time like this right now, where currently I'm located in California, and we have a stay at home command going on right now to prevent the spread of coronavirus. So some of your listeners might be experiencing that. And because of that, business has slowed down quite a bit. So this might be a period of time where your listeners can take that time to set up certain systems in place so that they're able to bring on someone to help them in the future. or even so that 30 years from now, they're able to actually sell their business. You know, you need to have those systems in place so that you can one day sell your business. So for me, I am not a techie person at all. That is one of my weaknesses. So the simpler, the better.
Yeah.
What I have done is I use my phone a lot. So I have a notes app, and I'll just, in the process of doing something, even if it's in the process of making my veils, I will kind of list out what it is I'm doing on the notes app. And I've now also gotten into the habit of recording, just hitting record and showing what it is that I'm doing on my iPhone.
On your phone. Okay.
Just on my phone. I have like a little a stand that I can do that just records whatever it is that I'm doing. So I record it on my phone, and it shows me doing what I'm doing. And I also like to have, you know, the separate step-by-step instructions that I have on my notes app. And I end up transferring that all and saving it to OneDrive, which is my cloud storage, but it doesn't have to be OneDrive. You can use Google Drive. You know, the other thing I do is just set out bullet points in Word documents. So, I mean, I'm keeping the technology really simple here. Like, I'm just using my phone. I'm using Word. I'm using a notes app.
Yeah.
It's nothing that's super high tech. Simpler the better.
Yeah, and that works, you know.
Yeah. And you're able to share with the cloud storage systems like OneDrive. You're able to actually share those trainings with people. So what I've done with my virtual assistant is I'll then share a folder with her of the trainings where she's able to watch whatever it is that I've already recorded.
Okay.
And I guess the one fancier tool that I use, or a little bit harder tool, is the Screencast-O-Matic, which I think I mentioned previously.
Yeah.
And that's if I'm doing something that's specifically on my computer screen, and it records everything that you're doing with the mouse. You can talk as you're doing it. And then you just save that to OneDrive and share it with your virtual assistant.
And this is completely free, you said?
Yes, it's completely free. So there are paid ones as well. I like Camtasia, but I think is one of them. But go for the free ones.
Yeah. Do you know if Screencast-O-Matic is compatible with both Apple, iOS, and Windows?
I do not know.
Okay, I'll look it up. I'll check, and then I'll put a link in the show notes for this episode in case anyone is wondering who has one or the other.
Yeah, I know it's compatible with, because I've only used that on my PC. Okay. So for sure it's compatible with PC.
Okay, all right. So Apple people, we're the only ones. I'll check on that for Apple people. Okay, now what would you say? I'm so impressed with your business and how you just continue to grow, you know, from, you know, one level to the next, and that's what everyone aspires to when you start a small business and you run a small business. What would you say, if you could narrow down your success to one thing, what would it be?
Well, thank you for the kind comments, by the way. I'm equally as impressed with yours, Ijama.
Thank you.
I would say that the key is definitely persistence. It is to continue to plug away and keep trying new things, and when it doesn't work, to not take it personally as a failure, but to see it as a learning experience, and then to try something new. Like, for example, I've tried many different product lines throughout the years, and most of them have failed miserably. I've even had ones that go Yeah, most of them, yeah, before I was on wedding veils and wedding capes, I mean, I had some that were so crazy bad that they were on a site called Etsy Fails, which I don't think it's
No, you made
no,
it.
seriously. I was featured on Etsy Fails. It was that bad.
Are you serious? Was it that site Regretsy?
I think it was Regretsy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, I've never met anyone who made it.
And the shame of being on a site like Regretsy. I mean, it sticks with you for sure. And you just
Oh,
you have
I'm
to
so
realize
sorry, but that's funny.
it's okay. It's okay. Now it's funny. At the time, it was not funny. Okay?
Yeah.
I took
Oh
it very
no.
but that is okay, and that is part of the learning experience. And it took me years to realize that wedding veils would be the core of my business. I guess basically I would say that there's this concept of little bets. Have you heard of this concept? It's not like widely used.
No.
Basically you're saying that you should try small experiments and changes in your business
Mm-hmm.
as you try to discover what works and what doesn't work for you.
Okay.
You don't want to be investing huge amounts of money or time in your experiments or changes that you're doing for your business,
Okay.
but you should be constantly testing different ideas, whether it's in marketing or in your products. And you should be doing this on an ongoing basis because that's how you learn and that's how you iterate. That's how you improve is by trying new things and taking these small changes and seeing if they have positive results.
Yeah. Okay. I like that idea.
Yeah.
It makes it less overwhelming.
It does. It does. You don't have to throw all of your energy and all of your resources on it.
Yeah.
You know, just do something small. Like, for example, when I was first starting out, I was off, and this was before Etsy was highly encouraging people to do free shipping. So at that time, I was doing paid shipping, but I would offer free shipping for brides if they would promise to share their professional wedding photos with me and allow me to use it on my site.
Nice.
And most brides are more than happy to do that.
Of course.
Yeah, because
Probably the day you look your best in your life. For sure.
Exactly.
Take my picture.
Exactly. They're happy to be
Yeah.
featured,
Yeah.
but sometimes they just don't think about the fact that, oh, those would be probably helpful for
Yeah.
whoever it was that designed my veil or designed my dress or made my jewelry or
Yeah.
shoes. Yeah, so that was an example of a little bet that I did. I wasn't losing that much. I was losing, $5 shipping costs. And I got some beautiful photos, and my brides felt good, like I was wanting to feature their wedding, which I was.
Yes. Nice. Okay. Now, having been in business now you've been in business for a while now.
I have. I'm about to celebrate my 5-year mark of going full time into business this month, actually.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What tips do you have for other women who are starting a business now?
Well, I would say that, and this is an area that I still struggle with, which is why I'm going to say that it's something we should all be consciously working on. It's the fact that we should be setting boundaries in our business because we are more than our business. Our value as a human being doesn't come from the success of our business or how much money we're making or what our prestige is in life. It's so easy to base your identity on the success or failure of your business. And I fall into this all the time.
Yes.
So now that business has slowed down a little bit due to the coronavirus, right? I can fall into the trap of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. what am I doing wrong? And the truth is that my identity isn't based on my business. So if your business is struggling, then, it can be really tempting to feel like a failure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a very dangerous game to play, as you can start working longer hours. You can work weekends, become all consumed in this chase of success because it is what defines you. But to everyone listening, you are more than your business. and you do want to leave behind a positive, uplifting legacy that is about who you are as a person. So I would say taking some time to think about what your personal core values are in life, whether that is someone who's devoted to family and friends, somebody who prioritizes people. Maybe you're somebody who is a person of faith in some way or another. And then setting very clear boundaries. Like for me, I've learned and still working on the fact that I shouldn't be answering conversations at midnight, right?
Yes, guilty. Yes, I know.
Yeah, shocker, right? Shocker. And when I'm with friends and family, I should not be trying to desperately get out that message on my Etsy app on my phone to the bride who just contacted me. It's really important to have those boundaries in place. And so take some time to think about what those are, and it will protect you in the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that, because working from home, it's so easy to not have boundaries. And I think I'm as guilty as, anyone else, where because you don't physically leave where your business is located, you have a hard, I shouldn't say you, I have a hard time also mentally cutting off, because physically I'm in the same space. So mentally it just continues. And so, if like you said, a notification comes on the phone, it's easy enough for me to pick it up and respond and do, and, all hours too, because when you run an online business and your market is the world, it's always daytime somewhere. And so someone is always awake trying to do business. And so it's hard to, unless, I'm actually asleep or, not near the phone. And so setting boundaries is so important, because eventually it does catch up to you, even mentally, when you start to feel like you're not shutting off and you're not shutting down.
Absolutely. And I agree completely. It's learning to not feel guilty when you literally turn everything off, you turn your phone off, and you just enjoy some relaxation, whatever that is to you, whether it's watching a Netflix or spending time with your family, or doing a hobby that you love that has nothing to do with your business. It's very important.
One thing I do take advantage of now is and I have an iPhone, and I don't know if Androids have this feature, and I'm pretty sure it must, but the do not disturb feature. So you can set it so at a certain time the phone doesn't ring, you don't see messages or anything. But of course, some family members have figured out if you call back to back, it will ring because it thinks it's an emergency.
Right, exactly.
So they're like, oh, it's after 10. I have to call her 3 times for her to answer.
They're working around the system.
Around the system, but that's fine. Family's okay. Mostly, yes.
Just kidding.
Yes. All right. So one of the things that you've done also is you've created a Skillshare course for other business owners. Can we talk about what that's about and how anyone listening can get access to this course that you've created?
Yes, this is something I'm really excited about. It's a free course that I created via Skillshare. that is called Drive Business with Exceptional Customer Service. And it's a really short course. It's less than an hour. Actually, I think it's closer to 30 minutes. And it teaches you how to learn easy and practical tools so that you can delight your customers and deliver really excellent customer service that will, in the end, drive more business. Basically, the whole premise of the course is that you want to find out how you can implement these small touches in your business that take your client's experience with you from good to great, and that helps you build this brand of excellence. And it drives traffic via referrals. It helps you build a brand that is known for being one of excellence.
Yeah.
It really is geared more towards online and e-commerce based businesses because that's what I have experience in.
Okay.
The concepts can be taken and applied to brick and mortar stores, but really, by and large, it's for people doing the Etsy type of thing, you know, working from home, working with an online shop.
Yeah.
And, you know, I cover topics such as the importance of proactive communication, talking about how you can personalize the online experience. One of my favorite lessons is talking about how you want to create memorable moments in the experience of working with your customer, because we are in an increasingly experience-based culture where people just take for granted that they will have a product from you that meets certain criteria of excellence. But what they're really going to remember is the experience of working with you. And that's what's going to make them excited and willing to refer you to other people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a, you know, I'm biased, but I think it's an easy course to take and listen to, and you can do it all audibly too. You don't have to actually be looking at the screen. And yeah.
I like that. I'm impressed that you could squeeze all that into 30 minutes, but I also know that that's your philosophy and how you run One Blushing Bride. And so it just makes sense that, you know, it would be easy for you to talk about this and share exactly how you've used all these concepts to grow your business and do what you do so successfully. So I will have a link to Alisha's course. It's available for free on Skillshare. So I'll put a link to it. So anyone who wants to go and watch it, and that's one of the nice things about Skillshare courses is you can sit down and consume it quickly and not feel overwhelmed that you need, you know, months to get through, you know, 16 modules to get some good information.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Skillshare in general, and I've learned a lot from listening to some of the other teachers on there.
Yeah. Now you also are do some high touch consulting too if someone wants to have a coaching session with you.
Yes, I do. And this is something that I'm offering just to your listeners. I'm going to be offering you a free 30-minute consultation where we talk about the subject of your choice. And this is for all of your listeners who are listening to this podcast. And you can access it by signing up at bit.ly/your small business help. And that's spelled bit.ly/your small business help. So this can be for people with an Etsy shop who kind of want an Etsy critique, or if you have a standalone website, or if you have specific questions about marketing and what your message is. I do offer a 30-minute free consultation for your listeners.
Alisha, thank you so much for doing that. I'm always so appreciative and just warmed when sellers like you who are doing a good job, and you're successfully running your business, just, give so much back too. It just makes me happy to share that with other people. And I know there might be somebody struggling now, or who just wants to discuss one, a point that they're stuck on. So I appreciate you making yourself available for this. And I will have a direct link to sign up for this free 30-minute coaching call with Alisha. Again, it's at bit.ly/yoursmallbusinesshelp. And I'll put that in the notes for this episode so folks can easily click over and get in touch with you that way, or sign up.
Oh, thank you so much, Ijama. That means so much to me. I'm definitely smiling over here.
You are welcome. Now, what's the best way folks can connect with you, just to stay in touch with you and what you're doing?
Well, you can always connect with me on Instagram. I'm at One Blushing Bride, and that is all spelled out. Okay. So no numbers in there. One is spelled out. And if you also go to that link that we previously talked about, bit.ly/yoursmallbusinesshelp, then I will also be able to stay in contact with you there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I will link to those as well. Alisha, thank you so much for coming back and updating me and all of us on what you're doing with your business. As always, I'm just impressed with how you're growing it, and I will just keep watching to see what you continue to do in your business. And I wish you all the best. I do hope that once this coronavirus pandemic blows over, your brides start coming back and weddings get rescheduled. This is rough.
Me too. I hope the same thing. And that all the other small businesses that are affected, that they all are able to go back to full capacity.
Yes. Yeah, I hope so too. I do believe we'll be okay, but we have to get through this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
And
thank you.
You are so welcome, Alisha. And I thank you for listening to the podcast. I will be back again next week. If you'd like to connect with me online, you can do that on Instagram. I'm at ConvoMePodcast. You can also send me an email directly to interview@convome.com. And if you would like to be a guest on the podcast, I would so like to have a conversation with you. Go to convome.com and click on the Be My Guest tab. One thing I also wanted to mention, Alisha and I talked about the Google My Business page, and I really think it's going to be, well, not going to, right now, if you don't know, Google is currently serving up their results for Google My Business pages over organic results. So over your website or your Etsy shop or what have you. And so if you haven't yet set one up, you should highly consider, or seriously consider, setting one up. If you need help doing that, connect with me. Reach out to me on Instagram or via email. It really is a simple process, and I can help walk you through how to set yours up as well. And don't forget, if you're interested in joining one of my online workshops or in-person workshops, sign up to the mailing list, and I will send out a notification to you on the different dates as they come up. And these will be going on throughout the year. Again, this is through the ETSU Instructor Program. And thanks again for listening.